your divine protection. And so we ask that you lead this meeting, give them with the insight, the wisdom, and witty ideas to take Florence to another level. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Now will you join with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. Council, if you don't mind, we have several resolutions I would like to move up, and that would be A through G that we need to move up so that we can move forward after that. Are there any other additional changes? All right, thank you. Next, we have approval of minutes for March 9th, 2026 regular meetings.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have honors and recognitions. The police department will be honoring Anson Shells for 25 years of service.
Florence. From the beginning of his tenure, he brought with him a vision, one rooted in connection, trust, and collaboration. During his time as chief, he revitalized the agency's policing model by implementing a community-oriented policing philosophy that strengthened relationships between officers and the citizens they serve. He made it a priority to engage directly with the community, building lasting partnerships, particularly among neighborhood watch groups. Commander Shells has always believed that strong community relationships are the backbone of an effective and dependable public safety department, and his work has proven that belief to be true. After 12 years of distinguished service as Chief of Police, he stepped into a new role where he would continue serving in a new and impactful way. He took on the leadership of the newly established Community Services Division. Under his leadership, the division expanded to include code enforcement and animal control personnel, addressing the critical quality of life issues across the city. This division plays a vital role in investigating code violations, supporting neighborhood development, addressing zoning concerns, and enforcing laws related to domesticated animals. Commander Shells has been instrumental in updates to city codes, particularly those addressing dilapidated structures. His efforts have also been key to the success of the city's demolition program, helping to remove blight and restore pride in neighborhoods throughout Florence. For 25 years, Commander Shells has demonstrated unwavering commitment, forward-thinking leadership, and a deep belief in the power of community. His legacy is not only seen in the policies he implemented or the programs he built, but in a stronger, safer, and more concerned community we enjoy today. Congratulations on 25 years of service. Slide to the left. Would you care to say anything? Go ahead.
I think the next is for Jennifer Crawchet.
Jennifer.
Human Resources Whiz.
Today we recognize an exceptional leader in our organization, our Human Resource Director, Jennifer Providence, whose career at the city is a testament to dedication, growth, and unwavering commitment to both our employees and our mission. Starting as a project coordinator in 1999, Jennifer quickly demonstrated an ability to bring order, structure, and follow through to complex initiatives. After a brief stint in the private sector, Jennifer returned in 2011 as a risk management specialist and helped us navigate challenges with a steady hand and a sharp eye for detail. Jennifer was promoted to Human Resources Manager in 2012 and promoted to Director of Human Resources in 2021. She quickly became a trusted partner across the organization, ensuring that policies, processes, and practices supported both operational needs and employee well-being. What truly sets Jennifer apart is her rare ability to champion both the organization and its employees at the same time. Jennifer balances the big picture needs of the city with genuine care for each individual, consistently striving for solutions that are fair, sustainable, and people-centered. Colleagues know that when difficult decisions must be made, Jennifer will listen carefully, communicate clearly, and advocate for the outcomes that respect both our values and our responsibilities. In moments of pressure and uncertainty, Jennifer remains remarkably calm and composed. Whether it is an unexpected crisis, a fast-moving policy change, or a personnel issue with high stakes, she handles chaos with calmness, clarity, and professionalism. Her steady presence reassures employees and leaders alike, turning potential flashpoints into opportunities for problem solving and teamwork. Instead of escalating tension, she diffuses it. Instead of allowing confusion to grow, she brings focus and direction. Over the years, Jennifer's work has helped shape a culture where employees feel heard, respected, and supported. She is a go-to resource, a thoughtful advisor, and a trusted confidant for staff at every level. Her leadership of human resources has improved not just our processes, but our employees' experience of coming to work each day. I'm grateful for her steady leadership, her advocacy for staff, and her commitment to making this organization a place where people can do their best work. Congratulations.
You want to say anything?
I would like to say, if you are interested in public service, the city of Florence is the place to work. We have excellent benefits. It is a fantastic culture, and I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Madam Mayor, I think Jennifer was on the job trying to recruit additional employees.
She was. I love it.
I think Philip Roth is next. Bigger boots.
All right, today we're proud to recognize Joel Raw with 10 years of service to the city of Florence. Joel has spent all 10 years in our maintenance division of the Utilities Operations Department with his strong work ethic, electrical, mechanical skills, and leadership has resulted in his promotion to lead utility maintenance technician in June of 2022. In his time with the city, he's built an abundance of institutional knowledge of our water and wastewater systems, facilities, and treatment plants. Just a few of the noteworthy projects Joel has led are installation and programming of complex water and wastewater treatment control systems, modernizing and improving the city's utility systems by helping jumpstart a work order system to build a maintenance history on critical utility assets, upgrading and expanding our SCADA systems, and many other special projects to improve utility efficiency and reliability. Additionally, Joel has crossed over division and departmental lines livability, and elevate the city's services far beyond utilities. He has played a major role in preparing for many of the city's key annual events and holiday events. His work on these include ensuring reliable power for the Pecan Festival, installation and repair of Christmas lights in numerous locations, and installation and maintenance of the mega tree on Garden Street at the Winter Wonderland display. He has assisted and contributed to countless smaller events and projects and maintenance activities at other city recreational facilities, community centers, and operational buildings. Thank you for your 10 years of dedicated service. It's made a lasting impact, and we're grateful for your continued commitment.
Thank you so much.
Jeremy Miller.
Captain Miller has been recognized for 10 years of service for the fire department. Captain Miller began his fire service career in 2013 in Wilmington, Massachusetts, which is just outside of Boston. He was hired by the city April 18, 2016. He started on shift 3 at Station 2, which is on the north side of town. Then he transferred to ladder 114 on Palmetto Street. He was promoted to firefighter driver in 2019 and moved to engine 141 on the west side of town. He tested again and was promoted in November of 2021 to his current position as a captain, where he was assigned to engine 151, which is on the south side of the city. In January of 2024, he was transferred to his current station, which is where he started, back in engine 121 on the north side. Over the past 10 years, Captain Miller has remained committed to serving the citizens of Florence while supporting growth and development of others, particularly the new guys. 6 months, he helps them through their probationary period. Join me in congratulating Captain Miller for his service and continued leadership to the city of Florence.
Would you care to say anything?
No.
Okay. Council, if you don't mind, this is where we will move up our resolutions. And we will go to resolution number 2026-15. It's a resolution to claim April as Fair Housing Month in the city of Florence.
So moved.
What say you? Oh, he's got to read it first.
Turn on my mic there. Thank you, Mayor. I'll proceed with reading the resolution. It is a resolution to proclaim April as Fair Housing Month in the city of Florence. Whereas Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act of 1968 prohibits the discrimination in housing and declares it a national policy to provide for fair housing in the United States. And whereas the principle of fair housing is not only national law and national policy, but a fundamental human concept and right for all Americans. And whereas National Fair Housing Law during the month of April provides an opportunity for all Americans to recognize that the issue of fair housing continues to be a problem for many families of all races, and that complete success can only be accomplished with the help and cooperation of all Americans. And whereas the City of Florence, in its commitment to fair housing, proclaimed the month of April as Fair Housing Month, and urge all of our citizens to join in this effort to reaffirm our individual commitment to support the practice and spirit of the Fair Housing Law. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the City of Florence of the City of South Carolina does hereby proclaim the month of April as Fair Housing Month. And I think we have Ms. Pamela Jacobs with the PD Realtors Association here to accept the resolution.
Council, it has,
It's a motion second, it's already done.
okay. So then the person comes up. Right. Yeah. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposes? The ayes have it. Yeah. And I'm standing right here.
Her centered up there.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Yep. Yeah. Did you want to say something?
I don't have any prepared words, but I would like to say since 1969, from our inception, the PD Realtor Association has advocated for, educated our members and the public about fair housing. We are here to serve our communities that in the PD region. So if you have any questions, you are always free to call us, and we'll help walk you through that home buying process. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we'll have Bill number 2026-11. It's the first reading. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. This is resolution number 2026-16, a resolution of recognition honoring Donnie Carter for his years of service on the Florence Veterans Park Committee. What say ye?
So move.
Second.
Amanda?
Resolution number 2026-16 is sponsored by Councilman Braddock, a resolution of recognition honoring Donnie Carter for his years of service on the Florence Veterans Park Committee. Whereas Donnie Carter, a United States Army Vietnam veteran, has been actively involved in the vision, development, and ongoing success of the Florence Veterans Park since its earliest planning discussions in 2006, and whereas Mr. Carter played an important role in the initial efforts to establish a Veterans Park in Florence, South Carolina, contributing to the realization of a meaningful space dedicated to honoring the service and sacrifice of the nation's veterans. And whereas through the collaborative efforts of committed community leaders and visionaries, the Florence Veterans Park was completed in 2008 as a lasting tribute to the men and women who've served in the United States Armed Forces. And whereas Mr. Carter had the distinct honor of raising the first American flag at the Florence Veterans Park during its dedication on Veterans Day in 2008, and whereas during his tenure, Mr. Carter contributed to the continued growth and enhancement of the park, including the expansion of monuments representing major conflicts such as World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, and Desert Storm, as well as the addition of the Wall of Honor and Gold Star Monument. And whereas the Florence Veterans Park has become a cherished community asset, welcoming thousands of visitors and serving as the site of annual Veterans Day ceremonies held each year on November 11th. And whereas Mr. Carter's commitment, leadership, and passion have made a lasting impact on the city of Florence and its recognition of veterans. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Florence, South Carolina hereby recognizes and expresses their sincere appreciation to Donnie Carter for his many years of dedicated service to the Florence Veterans Park Committee and the citizens of Florence. Resolved this 13th day of April, 2026.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Mr. Donnie?
Usually when you serve somewhere 20 years and you get paid, you get a retirement bonus, but we didn't pay you then, so I guess we don't pay you now. Yeah, thank you for 20 years of voluntary service to our community. Thank you very
That's
much.
powerful. 20 years.
We will allow you to say a few words though. You gotta say that too.
I'd like to start with for what you said about Vietnam. Ms. Pope read everything that I wanted to say, but I would like to tell you that it's the prettiest park on the East Coast. It's the prettiest park on Fort Worth this way. So if you'd like to go and have a private time with your birds or anything else out there, it's a beautiful park to go and relax at. Rick Walden, Mayor Willis, and Congressman Ed Young, whenever I started with this in 2006, they were the vision that Florence needed for this.
I thank them for their part in my being here today. I'd like to thank City Council. I'd like to thank the maintenance crew out there that has done such a wonderful job at keeping our park pretty. I'd like to also thank my family and God Himself for letting me be here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, it's a resolution number 2026-17, a resolution of recognition for the King's Academy for winning the 2025 SCISA. I'm supposed to just say SCISA. I'm sorry. SCISA 2A Golf Championship. What say ye?
So moved.
Second.
All right, Amanda.
Resolution number 2026-17 is sponsored by Councilman Braddock and Councilman McKay. A resolution of recognition for the King's Academy golf team for winning the 2025 CISA. Did I say that right? No, you've got me on 2A state championship. Whereas the King's Academy golf team achieved an outstanding accomplishment by winning the 2025 South Carolina Independent School Association 2A state golf championship at the Hackler course at Coastal Carolina University. And whereas the Lions secured the state title with an impressive team score of 650, finishing 13 strokes ahead of the runner-up Carolina Academy. And whereas the championship victory reflects the team's dedication, discipline, and perseverance, building upon a strong runner-up finish in the previous year. And whereas the team demonstrated resilience and focus throughout the tournament, particularly in the final round, where strong performances over the closing holes secured the championship. And whereas head coach Billy Early and Luke Coates provided exceptional leadership, emphasizing focus, teamwork, and mental toughness, guiding the team to the championship achievement. And whereas through hard work and determination, these student athletes have proven themselves state champions and served as positive role models for area youth. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Florence, South Carolina hereby commends this athletic accomplishment and congratulates the King's Academy golf team for winning the 2025 state championship. Resolved this 13th day of April, 2026.
Council, what say you? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. The sponsors of this is Zach McKay and Brian Braddock. You all can come forward.
Let's go. Oh. One volleyball.
Coach, would you care to say anything?
Sure, I'll say a few words.
Madam Mayor, City Council, the King's Academy golf team thanks you for the recognition. We had a great year last year. These young guys stayed in the fight, secured the victory. We're hoping to do it one more year, and maybe we'll see you again soon. But we appreciate the honor, and we'll post it, Coach Rogers, somewhere where everybody can see it. How about that? Thank y'all.
Thank you. Thank y'all so much. Thank y'all. Yeah, y'all, Zach, y'all just stay right there, because Council, next we have resolution number 2026-18. King's Academy say, wait a minute, we got something else for you. It's a resolution to recognition for the King's Academy for winning the 2025 SCISA 2A Volleyball Championship. What
So
say
moved.
ye, council?
So moved.
All right, Amanda.
Resolution number 2026-18 is also sponsored by Councilman Braddock and Councilman McKay, a resolution of recognition for the Kings Academy volleyball team for winning the 2025 SCISA 2A State Championship. Whereas the Kings Academy volleyball team achieved an outstanding milestone by winning the 2025 South Carolina Independent School Association 2A State Volleyball Championship, and whereas the Kings Academy secured the state title with a hard-fought 3-2 victory over Florence Academy at Cardinal Newman, demonstrating perseverance and determination in a 5-set match, and whereas this victory marks the first state championship in the history of the Kings Academy volleyball program, a significant accomplishment for the school and the Florence community. And whereas the team showed remarkable resilience throughout the match, overcoming multiple deficits and rallying in each set, exemplifying teamwork, discipline, and competitive spirit. And whereas head coach Kyle Buckley and the coaching staff provided strong leadership and guidance, helping the team persevere after previous championship losses and achieve their long-awaited goal. And whereas through hard work and determination, these students have proven themselves state champions and serve as positive role models for area youth. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Florence, South Carolina hereby commends this athletic accomplishment and congratulates the Kings Academy volleyball team for winning the 2025 state championship. Resolved this 13th day of April, 2026.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Ladies, could you come forward, please?
Madam Mayor, we got a lot of state championships.
I'm telling
We
you.
do.
Florence.
Congratulations, girls.
I said I was
Job.
gonna stand back here 'cause it's so many. Can you all double the short ones come across here? Well, yeah, the setters just go in the front. No, I'm just kidding. In my day. Congratulations, ladies. Coach, will you share the
Mayor and City Council, again, thank you for having us. We appreciate all your support, and thank you again.
Yeah, we'll give them just a minute to exit as we ready ourselves for our next resolution. Congratulations, champions. Okay, next we have resolution number 2026-19. It's a resolution of recognition for the City of Florence Gymnastic State Champions. Oh, Florence is kicking butt. What say ye?
So moved.
Second.
All right.
All right, Honorable Mayor and Council, good afternoon. Resolution number 2026-19, a resolution of recognition for the City of Florence gymnastics participants for their outstanding achievements in the USA Gymnastics competition. Whereas the City of Florence Recreation Department provides opportunities for youth to develop athletic skills, discipline, and confidence through its gymnastics program. And whereas several participants in the City of Florence Recreation Gymnastics program have demonstrated exceptional talent while competing in USA Gymnastics events. And whereas these athletes have earned top honors in their respective divisions representing the city of Florence with excellence in sportsmanship. And whereas the following gymnasts achieved notable accomplishments. Blakelyn Craddock, Excel Bronze Division, earned first place on floor on March the 15th. Brinley Curlington, USAG Level 4, earned third place on beam, third place on floor, and third place all around on March 29th. Amelia Collin, Excel Bronze Division, earned first place on floor on March 14th. Madeline Horton, Excel Bronze Division, earned third place on floor on March 15th. Jax Perkins, Excel Division, Silver Division, earned second place on vault on March 14th. Noemi Ward, Excel Division, Silver Division, earned third place on floor on March 14th. And Miriam Welch, Excel Silver Division, earned first place on floor, third on bars, and second place all around on March 13th. And whereas through hard work and determination, these athletes have proven themselves state champions and serve as positive role models for area youth. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Florence, South Carolina commends this athletic accomplishment and congratulates the Florence Gymnastics participants for their outstanding achievements in the USA Gymnastics competition. Resolved this 13th day of April 2026.
Council, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Will the gymnastic champions please come forward? Oh, look at that.
You hear
Oh, I'm getting in that picture.
Oh, man. That is beautiful.
Did you hear all that clink, clink?
Oh, man. I love it.
Did you hear it say something?
I don't know how loud to talk. Okay. I just want to say thank you for the recognition. FG Florence Gymnastics has been my home away from home. It is an honor to be on this journey with this talent and the hard work that they put in. So thank you, parents, for your support as well. We're going to keep working hard, training hard, and keep making waves for the city of Florence.
Thank you, ladies. Keep up the good work. Yeah. Uh-oh, somebody want to see a cartwheel.
Gotta make sure my athlete's fit.
All right, next we are on F. Give it a minute.
Madam Mayor, don't let Brad Hanna get too close to that mic.
Uh-oh. Okay. Next we have resolution number 2026-20, and it's a resolution of recognition for the Flowtown United Classy Queens for their contributions to our community. What say ye, council?
So moved.
And there's a second. Amanda.
Resolution number 2026-20 is sponsored by Councilwoman Neesmith Jackson. A resolution of recognition for the Flowtown United Classy Queens for their contributions to the community. Whereas Flowtown United Classy Queens, established in March 2024 in Florence, South Carolina, is a women-led community organization dedicated to strengthening and uplifting the Florence community through service, unity, and empowerment. And whereas the organization is committed to supporting individuals and families by providing resources that promote overall well-being, personal development, and community stability. And whereas the mission of Flowtown United Classy Queens is to preserve and strengthen communities by offering mental health and nutrition support services, along with clothing assistance to promote workforce readiness. And whereas since its founding, Flowtown United Classy Queens has demonstrated a strong commitment to service through organizing and participating in charity drives, community outreach programs, mentorship initiatives, scholarship support, and sponsorship fundraisers. And whereas the organization's efforts have positively impacted individuals and families throughout the Florence community by fostering unity, encouraging leadership, and promoting meaningful opportunities for growth and success. And whereas the dedication and leadership of Flowtown United Classy Queens serve as an example of civic engagement and community pride within the city of Florence. Now therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Florence, South Carolina, hereby recognizes and commends Flowtown United Classy Queens for the contributions to the community. Resolved this 13th day of April, 2026.
Council, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Classy, go ahead, Councilwoman.
Queens.
There's so many of y'all, I'm gonna stand back here behind y'all too. Somebody gonna have to take the front or turn your shoulder out. Everybody, shoulder out on this side and shoulder that way. Uh-oh, you can get it. There you go. Slide to the right. There you go. Congratulations.
I came prepared.
Uh-oh.
No, it's going to be short. On behalf of Flowtown United Classy Queens, we humbly thank you for the recognition. We believe that service is one of the greatest ways to show love to the community, and we are grateful that the work that we are doing, the give back that we are doing, and making a positive impact in our communities. We just like to tell you thank you for recognizing the work that we are doing. And when y'all see us in the community, what we have in common is we ride motorcycles, but what we do is service. So we came down here in our business suits to let you all know that we mind our business.
Okay.
Thank y'all very much.
You go, girl. All right. Next, we have the next resolution number 2026-21. We're going to defer that to next month. Council, if you don't mind, can we go back? Don is still in here. I saw him. Okay, great. So, can we go back to appearances? We'll give the ladies a few minutes to get out and say that again. Oh, and while we were Southside Middle School, can you please stand up? Don and your people stand. These students have come because they well, I tell you what, Don, why don't you just tell us something about these? Okay. Yeah, well, we had to talk to them before. All right.
This is Southside Middle School's student government, SGA, officers. So we have our president, vice president, secretary, treasurer, and class representatives. They wanted to come and see what city government is about and how they can get involved as they get older.
Thank you for bringing him.
Thank you.
Next, we have Don Strickland, Executive Director of the PD Regional Transportation, better known as PDRTA, to provide a transit update on the 2026 through 27 funding summary.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, council, staff, citizens. I'm glad to be here and be able to present. This is a big slide deck. I will not go through every slide, but I will rush through it. Slow me down if you need me to. I do want to thank council before I forget for putting Councilman Jabali back in with the PDRTA board. So one of my 15 bosses that I have at PDRTA. So I'm definitely thankful for him and the work that he does as a board member for PDRTA. I'm going to run through it real quick, but basically, you know, there's just a lot of things happening at PDRTA, a lot of growth and recently, and I'm going to dive into some of that as I work through this presentation today. I think most of y'all know that we did a complete transit study funded mainly by Florence County, Flats, and SCDOT, and we're definitely thankful for that because it opened our eyes to some things that that we really needed to see. A lot of positive, a lot of good, but then also some areas of work that we need to try to pull off. At a glance, at PDRTA, obviously 6 counties, over 3,500 square miles. We're still the largest in the state, geographically speaking, 3rd largest in the country when it comes to RTA. So very rural services outside of the city of Florence. City of Florence is our small urban. Everything else is pretty rural that we operate. Provide a ton of different services. You know, a year ago we were right around 400,000 trips. This year we're on pace to do 525,000 for this fiscal year. So just a lot of growth, and I have other slides that kind of show that. Providing a lot of services: fixed route, paratransit, demand response. Fixed route services are your bus stops on the side of the road. The demand response is scheduled next day service that we provide throughout our region. Folks are able to schedule a ride, get to a doctor's appointment, grocery stores, wherever they need to get to tomorrow if they can't access the fixed routes. Just a lot here. Like I said, I will not run through everything, but just a few things from the study itself. And Kimley Horn was the company that actually provided they were the consultant and contractor there. But overall, coverage is good across our entire 6-county region. Not nearly where it needs to be, but we cover a lot of territory. Obviously, the city of Florence is where a lot of our bread and butter is. A lot of ridership is right here in the city. In fact, way more than half, close to 60% of everything we're doing is in the heart of Florence. So just kind of make the strengths that we got through this transit study. Obviously, size was big. I keep mentioning that. Tons of partnerships. We do things a little different than most RTAs in the state with the number of partners that we've had. And that really is what allows us to do what we do as far as matching federal and state dollars every day. A lot of workforce, I'll speak to that. A lot of healthcare related trips and a lot of healthcare partners that we'll talk about. We're doing committed workforce, so dedicated workforce transportation in our region. On average, you know, I think in here it's going to tell you that roughly 60% of what we're doing every day is workforce related. People going to and from work. Again, that massive service area, our workforce needs better recruitment, retention, and then for us, service-wise, the one thing that's been highlighted is just a better, stronger efficiency, greater frequency, and the span of services. And I will speak to this, but in our budget request for the city this year, one thing we really have to figure out is running our services beyond 6 p.m. The proposal had 9 p.m. for the city, and really, you know, I've shared many stories, but I was at Lowe's recently, and the cashier saw I had a PDRTA polo on, and she told me that she rides every day to get to work. Most of the time. Her issue was that anytime she's on that second shift, she can't get home. So she has to find a different way to get home, and sometimes she said that's 20 or 30 bucks out of her pocket. So if we can extend those hours, that one story is, I mean, it's a multiplier effect. A lot of people will be able to have access that have you know, maybe working at the malls or hospitality or other areas to be able to get to and from home. And that also cuts down on your foot traffic. You know, a lot of pedestrians out there just walking from home to where, or work back and forth home. Challenges is the service area. Our capital needs will speak to service efficiency, and then obviously our financial limitations. So within our transit study, they did a peer review. They took several other RTAs similar to PDRTA, obviously none geographically the size that we are, but they looked at 3 of them. I won't dive into all this, but the one thing to say is that when we talk about efficiency, we're doing just about all we can with the resources that we have. And so that comes from, you know, how many operators we're deploying every day, the buses themselves, the age of the buses that we're deploying. There's a lot there, so I'll move on a little bit here. So one thing that we find through the transit study is our breakdown. I mentioned a lot of local partners that really help us. The other transit providers that they were looking at, basically the local government piece was 50% of their budget. At PDRTA today, our local government is 11% of our budget. So tremendous, you know, just kind of a different setup. Now, we're not where we need to be with 11%. We definitely have to change that, and I'll speak to that, but we're not going to have to be at 50% like many other RTAs to be able to continue doing great services out there. This is just some of our partners. I won't run through all this, but and this is just a small snippet. We have over 100 different entities that are actually bringing local funds to the table to help us support what we do across 6 counties.
Don, can you get back 2 slides? Because I just want to, for clarity purposes, because I think that there would be a misgiving that 60% provided by the federal government to the local PDRTA. It seems like we're being funded in great part by the federal government as compared to the other thing, but that is a matching that is a matching fund, correct? So if we were giving more, that number would go down in terms of percentage, but would go up in terms of the dollar amount.
Yeah, actually the number really won't go down in percentage. It's just going to increase the overall budget and what we're able to put on the street. So being able to run longer hours or replace a capital replacement plan to get newer assets, that funding, the 60%, it's actually close to 67, 70% federal and state funds. We have some more to do at the state level, but yeah, so every dollar that we get
operationally as well.
Capital is actually a higher percentage. Capital is 80%.
But that's an operational percentage.
It's a combination of the two. At around 67 when you throw in the state piece. But my point is we have access to additional dollars if we have additional local funds to be able to.
But for every dollar that's contributed locally, the federal government matches how much?
It's basically a 3-for-1. So every dollar we get locally, we're able to put $4 of service on the road. Yes, sir. Thanks for that. I mentioned the state, something we do have to change, and I won't dive into this, but the gas tax really hasn't changed much since 1987. We're still getting the same amount of money for 40 years ago as we are today at PDRTA. So that's something that we're working hard on multiple fronts, and I do think we'll end up getting there, but this year's budget doesn't seem to be the case. So I mentioned earlier about some of the comparable services, but this is just kind of where we've grown to go from 560,000 revenue miles to over 1 million just in the past 5 years. So we've more than doubled, and actually the 2024 is actually well under where we are today in 2026. So just a couple things is going well. We have received, and we're constantly chasing new opportunities and new grants, but we received a Southeastern Crescent, which is going to provide access from Marion and Dillon counties to Florence. A lot of folks need to get here for workforce, but also for health care. Those people are coming into Florence spending money and either spending money or making money, so they're helping our local businesses as well. And then the CHC Community Health Center is another grant that's going to help us in Lower Florence County really expand demand response services outside of our current fixed route. So many seniors really need this. A lot of ADA folks, wheelchairs and walkers, a lot of dialysis clients, cancer centers. Just a lot of folks truly need those services. The assistant ridership. So every day, and average, if you're at the downtown transit center in Florence, and you just stood there for the entire day, you're going to basically see about 12. It says 1,274. It's anywhere from 1,100 to about 1,500. This data is back from last September, October. We've seen growth since then. So 1,500 trips has actually taken downtown Florence on our transit system every day. So this is just the average weekday. In Florence, we run 31 passenger buses, and these are broken down in hour segments. And there's another slide that kind of shows this, but for many hours of the day right now, we have standing room only on our buses. No seats. There's people standing, riding for an hour to get to the next stop. That's something we really have to work on. You do that with the frequency or increased amount of services. So this is just like our Route 1 bus. On average, any given day, about 365 people are riding that bus, 365 passenger trips. When I say people, I mean passenger trips. So it's not 365 individuals. Sometimes people may ride twice a day, but you get the point. There's a lot of folks that's using these services. So this is that hourly breakdown passenger count. So you can see where we have 30 and 35. That Route 1 on the right-hand side, many hours, is right around 35. That means on a 31 passenger bus, there's no seats. People are standing to ride the bus. Unfortunately, you can't tell everybody that senior citizens should get the seat and you need to get up, because people don't always respond that way. So a lot of times that may be that you have a senior that's going to be standing for that period of time to get to and from. This is just the Route 3. I'll skip that, but still strong. This is Route 3 average. Our worst route in Florence right now is still averaging over 20 passenger trips per hour. That's the worst route. And to give you an example of what that looks like, this is our comparison, and my buddy Brian at Coast is going to get mad at me, but our worst route in Florence is stronger than the best route in Myrtle Beach when it comes to ridership, which is unbelievable when you think about the population base down there. So that just shows you what we're doing here in Florence for our worst route to be as good or better than their best route at the beach. And to keep in mind, this is the entity that just got the Ride 4 tax. So they're getting $13.9 million for the next 25 years. And our ridership is stronger than theirs in Florence. So there's just a lot to look at when you consider that. All right. How do we improve short term? We got to increase the consistency. I won't run through all this, but we got to increase the hours of service. We want to close the gap on the weekends. When we do our week-long surveys every year, that's the biggest thing. They are crying and begging for more service. We have passengers in this room that will speak to kind of what that looks like and how important it will be for us to be able to extend past 6 p.m. because some people work until 5 or 6. Then there's no option for them to be able to move about after that. And then long term, we keep talking about an intermodal center. I think that's going to be something we really want to continue pushing forward with. That will connect all 6 rural counties to the urban area. That's going to bring more resources into Florence, better connectivity for our airport, for rail. You know, we could potentially move our Southeastern Stages Greyhound out there. Uber and Lyft could actually be on that same property as well as some of our taxi services. So there's just a lot of opportunity to be able to make that happen. So with this year's funding, excuse me, one thing we're trying to do, again, is increase the local funding in order to make some of these things possible, and being able to close that gap, pushing to 9 p.m.
Don, I got a question.
I had 2 questions, and we might have already went over it. The first question I got is, I know the county said it's free service now.
Yes, sir.
How does that impact you all? Is it a direct payment or is it a reimbursement? How does that impact your services?
So this current year, the county basically offset what we would receive in fare box revenue based on our trend over the past 3 years. That does need to continue, and our request includes that amount that amount in the county budget as well as some additional funding. But they have more than doubled their funding over the past 3 years, and that's allowed us to do that. The other piece to that puzzle is, you know, those automated fare boxes were at end of life. They were $22,000 a piece. For us to replace all those fare boxes, it would have been somewhere $400,000 to $500,000. So what you've seen in ridership, and there's one more slide in just a minute, but with the ridership growth, our future funding on the federal level is based on the amount of butts in the seat. So the more people we have riding our services, the more federal and state funds we'll have in the future. So going fare free, you know, reduces our capital costs, but it also, when we look long term, the more passengers we have, and you can see that we're outperforming some of our major urban areas, that's going to benefit us in the future and allow us to be able to potentially have more funding at the federal and state level down the road than what they have currently.
And the second question is about the Florence Transit Center. Is that still open? I think I've heard some.
Absolutely, yeah. So we went through some struggles with, and it's not our passenger base. We've had some loitering happening at the transit center from folks just around that area. And so we ended up having to close the front door to try to keep it kind of, you know, limited to our main passengers. We have actually hired armed security at our transit center, and I'll be honest, it's been a world of difference. So that's kind of helped us be able to kind of manage that situation. Again, you know, everything's going well there. If you can imagine putting 5 heavy-duty buses in this room, that's kind of how it feels at the transit center. It's very tight. About half of our accidents at PDRTA that are our fault, not, you know, preventable, happen at the transit center because there's so many buses kind of squeezed into that tight area. It's not just the Florence buses. We have buses coming in from Lake City, from Pamplico, from other areas, and it's just really tight. So I truly thank the city for allowing us to be able to transition into that environment. But at this point, it's completely outgrown kind of where we are. So that's why we're really pushing hard for a future intermodal center to be able to expand that and really continue the growth that's happened.
And so you said expand the current facility that's there now, or?
There won't be enough room to expand that facility, you know, so. I mean, you're basically, it's less, the part that we have is probably less than an acre, and you're pulling 9 buses into that property every day. And logistically, we're doing everything we can. You know, we try to keep it safe, but it is tight. And you've got some barriers there for future growth. Thank
Okay,
you.
you can continue.
So anyway, we are looking to increase our local funding, you know, from city and county. RTAs, when they were established, there's basically 2 methods at the local level. It was never meant to be general fund from cities and counties. It was either a capital sales tax, transportation tax, or road use fees on vehicle registration fees. And really that's when RTAs were established in the 70s in South Carolina. That's really how they were supposed to be funded. Now, we've been doing it for 52 years without that. And but I'm here to tell you that we can't continue without one of those options. We can, but it will be a major reduction in what we're doing. And a lot of the growth that we've had over 6 years, we're going to have to go the opposite direction if we don't have some change in the very near future.
Can you explain, you mentioned the ride for tax that they're doing in Horry County or at the beach. Can you explain what that is?
So the Ride Forward transportation tax in Horry County is about 25 or 30 major projects. Most of it is roads and bridges and different development type things. Transportation, public or mass transit was one of those 25 to 30 projects on that referendum.
It was like a penny tax referendum?
It is. It's penny sales tax, yes, sir. And so out of all the polling that was done in Horry County, would you believe that mass transit, out of all the projects, mass transit was the #1 option that now they were worried about putting it on the transportation tax ballot. Then they realized that that was probably what made it pass. It was having mass transit on there, that conversation. So, and that's happened across the country in multiple places where referendums have passed. The transportation piece or mass transit, public transit piece has really helped push that initiative.
If with the fare boxes, you said it was about 400,000 to replace them.
That's right.
Could you get like that 80% match? So if you got 100,000, could you get 300,000 federal dollars for that?
We could, but with the way that we're operating now, it would impact the operational dollars. So how you allocate it, you have a large pot. You take that pot, you can allocate some capital, some operating. For us, we're putting everything we can into operating. And so while I could use some of my current money, I'd have to reduce services somewhere else to be able to replace those fare boxes.
But long term, the long term plan, is it to be fare free, or are you still going to have a fare generating mechanism within the public transportation?
So the issue, you know, I could get behind continuing fare free because of the ridership growth if we're able to maintain. The one caveat that most people don't understand is that fare box revenue, we can't use that to match federal and state dollars. So if you give me $2,000, a local government gave us $2,000, that actually is more than collecting $10,000 in the fare box. So I honestly wish that would change at the federal level where we could use, if we could, we would still have fares if you could use that to leverage and match federal and state dollars, but you can't. So basically all it does is considered contra. It reduces your overall cost, but you can't use that to match anything.
With the last question, with the intermodal hub, wouldn't that, I can imagine there'd be a huge ROI in terms of potential tax dollars for private industry like food. If you bring a lot of people together, you know, then they all have to eat and do things. Is there a model that allows for a public-private partnership where the city or the county could see an increase in business tax revenue by participating? Will there be areas that will be leasable to private industry and things like that? Or how does private industry fall into that?
That is certainly the game plan. So, you know, I can envision restaurants being on the ground floor of this facility. I mean, you can imagine
Can you envision it on a spreadsheet that shows if this many people came, this is how much dollars would be generated?
I mean,
ChatGPT would take you
we
a long
can
way
base
on
that on, you know, today with 1,500 trips to the transit center, you know, if everybody spent a few bucks, what that could look like. I mean,
I'm just saying, if you come in here with a spreadsheet and show us where the general fund would increase by $1 million from tax revenues generated from food sales and hospitality, you know, the tax dollars that come through transportation, that's a lot easier to vote for.
Yeah, I mean, and the other piece of that is the connectivity from 5 very rural counties, and those people and those folks are coming. I mean, you can take it many, many steps and show kind of what that impact would be. But you think about the employees that we have in Florence that struggle to get here, providing them access, you know, the folks coming in to our local malls, you know, the restaurants, I mean, everything. And
With
being
a
able to
3%
extend,
or less unemployment rate, I mean, we need employees in Florence.
just extending our services from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m., whatever my ask for this year from the city of Florence, we would triple that in restaurant sales. And just because you're going to open that door up for these folks that don't have access to be able to reach that.
You need to add that slide. Councilman Bailey, can you have them add that slide that shows the triple in the money?
So part of the RTA and Coast RTA, they're doing what I'm describing as an intermodal center. It's very much the same. They just received additional $25 million from Senator Graham to be able to move that project. That's something we're hoping for. So that's us on the left. That's the future Coast RTA on the right. I did want to get to this one. This shows you the past 5 years. So kind of the darker black bar heading, left to right is your total ridership. The orange is our workforce transportation. So this year, I mentioned earlier, about 525,000 passenger trips. Well, 320 of those, 310,000 is dedicated workforce. That's your number right there that you're looking for. I mean, 310,000 trips for people going to and from work every day. So then the next slide is healthcare. So that's our many partners across the region in the healthcare industry and what that impact is. The next one is education. Excuse me. This is our a lot of our partners, not all of them, just tied to healthcare. This is our app. Live track every bus in our fleet throughout the day, no matter where it is. You'll know where the bus is. Thank you so much. I mentioned earlier about the vehicle registration fees, and this has been proposed to the county on a few different levels, but roughly 107,000 registered vehicles. I have 2 in my household, so if I were to pay $10.50 one time a year, this is what it generates: $1.1 million in service for my vehicles. So that's actually in the transit law. This is how it was written for RTAs to be funded. This is one mechanism. So I mean, you think about putting 35 people on a bus. That's 35 less vehicles on the road. And when you think about the local impacts, that's less potholes, that's less maintenance. So there's a lot to consider with that. But that's one of the things. On the left side is that transportation tax I mentioned earlier. And I know I'm running out of time, so that's me.
Thank you. Council, is there any?
Don, I've got a quick question. And I know Councilman Braddock asked about the match funds. But so say, and my understanding is, say we give $1 million to PDRTA. So you guys would end up being able to get approximately a total of $4 million added to your budget. Correct?
That's exactly right. And depending on some of it being capital, it could be more than $4 million.
And so, and I imagine now with the free rides, we're not able to check the credit card numbers or whatnot to really measure that economic impact or the fiscal impact on our small businesses, but obviously it's pretty substantial, right? Bringing in folks not only to spend money at our small businesses, however, also taking them again to our colleges, to our schools, to be able to train them and then hopefully end up in the workforce as well. Correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so that impact, I guess, and I don't know yet how much you're asking for this year, but I assume we could really continue to impact that. Correct?
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Thank you. And again, as always, thank you for all you do. And again, I imagine you're doing it every year. I know we've worked together, but really working with the industries, is that still going on?
Absolutely. Yes, sir. I got some meetings scheduled next week.
Perfect. That's all I want to know. Thank you.
The last stat I want to leave you with is 80. We've done week-long surveys twice a year for the past 5 years, and this number ranges between 78 and 82%. So this year, 525,000 passenger trips. I think it's 78% of all of those passengers do not have access to a car in their household, but yet 62% are going to work every day.
Councilwoman Neesmith.
When you talk about the fare free, tell us about that and where does it go so people know.
As far as this, we have 275 stops throughout the city of Florence. We have connections. You can get all the way down to Lake City. You can go to Pamplico. You can go to Darlington, which you can also connect on our Society Hill Hartsville bus and go there. But all of that's fare free for the individual users. But again, it's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. in Florence. That's the part I really hope that we can change this year, being able to extend that.
Is everybody? All right.
Thank y'all so much.
So much.
I appreciate it.
Next, council, we go to ordinance in position. Bill number 2026-07 is the second reading. An ordinance to annex and zone NC-15, the property located at 2511 Ascot Drive, identified as Florence County Tax Map number 01221-01-191. What say ye?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have Bill number 2026-08. It's the second reading. An ordinance to annex and zone NC-15, the property located at 2710 Trotter Road, identified as Florence County Tax Map number 00984-01-007. What say ye?
So moved.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have Bill number 2026-10, second reading, an ordinance to create the Florence City County Convention and Visitors Commission to provide for the operation of Florence Convention and Visitors Bureau to include provisions for the commission's organization and funding and other matters related thereto.
So moved.
Madam Mayor.
Question? Yes.
Comment on that, ordinance, what was the composition of the commission? When there gonna be a board or a commission, what was that composition?
Yes, please, Council.
Madam
City
Mayor,
Manager.
that, council requested 4 members from city council, appointed by city council, and 3 members by county council. And that's in the ordinance. And they
I'd like-
agreed to that.
One thing I'd like to just mention, I don't want to change the ordinance, but in moving forward, I think that we need to remember the past, and I'd like to make a recommendation that Ashley Blay with PD Tourism be involved in that commission, because there was a lot in terms of that relationship that was positive, even though we're making this change. And I think that our work with PD Tourism, even though we won't be locationally in the same place, needs to continue and thrive. And so I just want to put that out there officially, that we are to consider that moving forward.
Well, I think we have time to include those appointments, and so we'll discuss that at that time. Okay? All right. Did we motion and second that? And we voted? No? Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have Bill number 20, now we're in ordinance, introductions of ordinance. Bill number 2026-09, this is a first reading. An ordinance to amend the City of Florence Unified Development Ordinance regarding window signs.
Thank you, Mayor, members of council. And this was deferred from last month. And I think we included in your packet a little example of some of the signs, but I also have another
Jerry.
example in here. Yes.
I did not get a motion or a second, so I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Motion.
And then a second? Okay.
Okay.
There you go.
Thank you. I apologize. But this is a continuation from last month. And just to refresh you, this was affecting window signage, and to take it from an allowed use to a permitted use, and to limit the window signage for business or commercial properties to a maximum area of 25%. And I did, staff did produce this image which kind of illustrates what the current recommendation or what the current ordinance would allow. And this is an example of a downtown property or a strip mall type property, where up top you would see their allowed business signage, which is their typical signage that would be allowed. But based on their window signage or their window area, they could have up to 100% of that window area currently. And those windows could be bigger or smaller, and under current code it would be allowed within that entire area. And under the proposed, it would limit it to 25% of that. So this is just a good example of that. And based on some of the concerns that council had last month, I also wanted to propose some alternatives to that, whereby possibly in some of the more intense zoning districts, such as the commercial general or the institutional type uses, that area could be enlarged because the setbacks are greater from the street in those zoning designations. They have higher required setbacks, and they're typically located along higher speed limit highways, larger volume highways. So that could be enlarged to, say, 50%, and or it could be exceeded to the and say not to exceed the maximum building signage area. In most of those locations, they can have a sign up to 25% of the building facade. On the facade, it's allowed. So maybe the accumulation between the business signage and any window signage could not exceed that 25%. So there are some options out there regarding that.
Councilman Smith?
All right, so Jerry, I've already heard some concerns from some small businesses already, and the first thing they hear is permit. And the first question I got to ask, what would be the price for them to change or have to permit the window signage?
Our current permit fee is $25.
Okay, good. And then secondly, I know it because you have to get a permit now for it. If we do pass it, which board or boards, I guess you either go to BZA or planning, which one of those would they have to apply to before it comes to council?
That would be, anytime they apply, it would be an administrative approval. So we would be able to approve it at a local level unless they wanted to go outside of those requirements and they had a hardship of some sort, and then they would have to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals
So
to
that
ask for
helps with the
relief.
shortened time period, so it doesn't have to go 3 months, it can go.
No, absolutely. This would be in the ordinance and administrative approval. So, yes.
Councilwoman Eastman Smith?
In the words of Councilman McCall, regulations. Seems like we put more regulations on businesses, and to me, changing it from 100% to 25%, that's why I think the more hazard is people trying to figure out what it is they got. I think we should allow businesses to utilize their window space to advertise their businesses, and I don't think that we should be changing it any kind of way that affect the business owners.
All right.
Yeah, my problem is like with that example that you showed, what if those windows were half of the size? You know what I mean? So that there's no minimum. I think there at least needs to be that you could have this much in terms of inches or square inches or whatnot, regardless of the size, because if you got, now you're getting penalized because you got less window space, you know, in terms of your marketability, and people are going to be looking for, they're going to come to Ms. Jacobs and they're going to say, hey, find me a building with the most window space downtown, you know, because I can only use 25% of it. Well, if only one of those was a window and two of those were a wall, you wouldn't even be able to see the musical note on it. And so I think there has to be something that allows for so much space, regardless of how much window space that you have, to make things fair and equitable. You know, because now all we're going to have, business people are smart. They're resourceful. They're going to knock out walls. They're going to put in bigger windows. You know, we are not going to politicize them out of their marketing of their business. We're just not going to do it. All we're going to do is make a mess and frustrate people. And I'm sorry, folks, we're not Mount Pleasant, nor do we desire to be. You know, that's not the goal. I want people in Florence to be able to do business, pay low taxes for their business, and be able to market their business. I don't want people not knowing how to find the music shop because they can't read the signs on the doors.
So, I spent some time with the Raleigh's Fellowship, and this was one of their topics. They talked about, to the mayors that were there, about this growing problem. And it was stated that we are responsible for smart growth. And as we grow, it is our job to have some regulations so that it just does not grow. It's almost like a broken arm. If you just let it go the way it wants to go, it goes deformed. You have to have some things, parameters placed so that the city grows with our vision and not with everybody else's vision. Everybody will, so I agree with it being too small, could be a hazardous. But my question is, can they not put it on their building? Why does it have to be on the windows? We talked to the police and they said that it does, and I talked to some other police, it offers security questions when the police comes to the building and they can't see into the building because it's completely covered. So there has to be something that we can work with, that you know, regulations are something that as a city we have to do. The county does not have as many regulations, but if we are more condensed, we have more businesses, and it will grow in a way that grows away from the vision of where we are. So I think some people want to say some things like that, because I think I'm the only one up here thinking the way I'm thinking, but
So, Madam Mayor, you actually hinted at my general question, and it was the safety concern with it, and I guess it may be for the police chief, but are we not trained in situations like this? Our officers not trained for businesses or signage of this manner, tinted windows or signage?
He said they were last month.
I just can't remember. I just
to
wanted to
see
make sure.
through
He
something
said they were
that
trained
Are we,
for that.
are we properly trained for that?
He said, yeah.
Okay.
Can we call the chief of police
Well,
up?
Sterling was shaking his head, yeah.
Chief of
Starling.
police.
I'll come up. I don't know what specific training they've had with tinted windows per se, but I will say in a
Right here.
I'll say in my prior experience with public safety concerns that yes, tinted windows or even any advertisements that cover up total window makes it harder for us, because obviously we have to go inside the structure to know exactly what is going on, whereas if there's a window available and you can see in it, it gives us more of a bird's eye view on approach of what public safety concerns we may have before we step inside the building. If you're asking from a public safety concern, of course, I would rather have visibility rather than obstruction of windows.
Okay. Brian.
Well, I think that's a perfect way to go about it, would be that you have to have this much window space cleared for visibility for security, than to say that you can only use this much space for your advertisement. So let us know what the appropriate amount of visibility into the business is. You know, if there's nothing on the door window, or if there's at least a 4x5, area where you can visibly see in, and then let the store owner do the rest, what they want to do with the rest. That makes more sense to me. If that's the reasoning behind it, then let's say, hey, in order for security and access and visibility for our local police, we need this much area visible. And do what the heck you want to do with the rest. That makes more sense to me.
But I don't think it's, I'm sorry.
I think we were down here, Zach.
And Jerry, my understanding was that this ordinance doesn't do anything for the tint,
No.
just the advertisement, correct?
Correct.
That's correct.
So they could still tint it as dark as, so again, to me, much like Councilman Neesmith said, it seems like an unneeded regulation to where we're just trying to grab an extra $25 from the folks that are doing it. And again, quite frankly, intervening more from a governmental standpoint.
Well,
when we don't
approached
need
it
to.
more from a clutter standpoint. There's a lot of visual clutter in our commercial areas.
Absolutely.
And
it looks,
those are
commercial.
on the sides of your windows, you could have a very small be allowed very small window signage, but there are some facades that have, 50 or 70% of their facade covered in windows. So therefore, they could have huge billboard size signs on front of their facade. And so we're approaching it from a clutter and an aesthetic standpoint.
And I don't disagree with you. I don't like how it looks. I just don't think that we should be in the business of, quite frankly, scaring away business owners. That, I mean, to me, it seems like we need to be pro-business as much as possible. More regulations, as many other members of the council have said. To me, it just seems like another way to essentially tax these businesses and scare away potential businesses.
He's saying when he gets
Yeah,
to
there's
it.
there's no extra charge other than the $25 permit
the
fee.
25 fee, yeah.
Right.
I think he's
That's
talking.
right, they would-
He's talking about the $25.
Right,
Yeah.
right, essentially.
They currently they don't have to get it.
Councilman Jabali.
So we start off, in my opinion, with the question of vision. What is our vision for when someone comes through Florence? And what do we want it to look like? How do we want it to operate? And if someone were to back up the timetable and go back and look at our downtown and say, well, we don't want any guidelines for design. We don't want any of that. We just want to have pure laissez-faire with no restrictions, no guidelines on how you're going to have signage, how you're going to have any of these things look and operate. Well, you would have a very, very different looking downtown if you had that versus what you have today. The collective enjoyable of what we have is in part due to the fact that there are regulations, that there are restrictions, that there are guidelines. Those enhance the quality of life, and they don't detract at all from businesses wanting to locate in downtown. So this notion that, in my opinion, this notion that either we're going to have no restrictions at all, no guidelines, no regulations, no idea of what we want and who we are as a city of Florence, because businesses won't come. I think the evidence is counter to that. The evidence says, in fact, that if you do have a sense of place for the city of Florence, I think you'll attract more businesses. You won't have less businesses. And if you go back to that illustration you had, Jerry, please, there's no change in the signage on the building. None. Zero. So the signage that's up there to advocate and to say, we're a music shop, that's the same. All this does is say, let us have some level of trying to have some commonality and say, we're going to have a sense of place to some extent. It doesn't change the signage on the building at all. And it gives a sense of place to who we are and what we are, and it adds a sense of vision and not pure laissez-faire, which I think is actually counterproductive to businesses. It is not promote more businesses, it actually restricts, because if you have a junked up looking strip mall that everything is like that, there's a good chance that businesses are not going to want to be there. And and who you're going to have as your tenants is not going to be tenants that we want to have there. So I think there's a real problem with it. Visual clutter, as you were saying, is the idea behind it, is to have a sense of who we are as a community, our sense of place. It has been highly beneficial to our downtown. I think extending it further out to the rest of the city will add to the quality of life of who we are and what we're about in the city of Florence, in my opinion.
Councilwoman Neesmith. I think McCall was.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Councilman McCall. I'm sorry, McCall.
To me, I feel like it's a time and a place for everything. We are already saying this is an affordability crisis across the country, and here we go again, another fee, another permit, another this, another that. It's a time and a place for everything. This is not the time to be adding on any extra fees, any extra regulations unnecessarily at this time. So therefore, I'll be voting no because of that.
Can I just ask, what are the fees for?
It's just, the permit. Right now, it's allowed. It's essentially allowed to
Could
have.
it be a rule without a permit?
It could be. It
And
could
then you
continue
don't-
to be allowed and not permitted, but it would still have guidelines. But if somebody broke those guidelines, we'd have to get them tied up in code enforcement.
So I got another question.
If they didn't comply.
I think we had questions down here.
I got one more question.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'll yield
Go
to you.
ahead.
Go ahead.
So, can we bring in the illustration one more time? And that's the 25%. Am I saying that right?
Yes.
Have
If
we
you
ever?
got that many windows.
Yeah, I was gonna go that route. But I think for me, why 25%? What is that? Why is that? Is that the standard guideline throughout municipalities? Why not 35? Why not 50%? Why that 25%?
I think there are two ways to approach it. I think there's a percentage of the window, or as I think Councilman Braddock was talking about, maybe a maximum size on each facade as a percentage of a facade, or the maximum size allowed. I think, in our research, 25% was a common number in other municipalities, and so we went with that. But that's flexible. I mean, I think the point is we need to regulate, and a lot of, the fee associated with it. This could be rolled into, when they do their whole signage package, or when they do their use package, all of that's covered under one fee most of the time. So, and if they wanted to come and change it out, as long as they're abiding by that 25%, there wouldn't be additional fees associated with it. It would be a one-time fee in most cases, unless they're adding new signage, to a building, then it would have to go through the review process.
I'm gonna tell you, I did not look at the cartoon character because that did not have any effect on me. But when we looked at the drawing or what you sent in the packet, that was a major difference. Seeing that cartoon thing don't faze me any. But to look at a real sign, a real door, and to see how small it would be to advertise, I just don't think that's right.
And visual artists, graphic artists, when they design those, they would design them for the space. They would obviously, if they shrunk
Make
down the graphic, they would enlarge the fonts and make it work in that
makes
space.
it worse in my,
So,
make it a little worse. So I'll be
Brian,
voting no.
Well, one thing I want to say is, we're not throwing the baby out with the bathwater. Like Councilman Jabali was saying, to have the Wild Wild West. There are a lot of codes and ordinances for downtown Florence.
It is.
So let's not act like we don't have rules and regulations to shop downtown, and it has spurred growth downtown. But what we're doing at this juncture is we put codes and ordinances in place, and then entrepreneurs look for a way around it. Hence the windows. So we're going to change this, and like I said, if we don't say that in addition to your main sign that you can only have X amount of square foot of window signage, instead of a percentage, just X amount, then what you're going to have is you're going to have glass facades on the front of most of these businesses. They're going to do it in laser light show, or they're going to put a speaker outside announcing what their specials are. So we're working with people who are trying to, they want to advertise their music shop, but if they got a sale on guitars, or if they got a sale on, pianos or whatnot, they want to advertise that sale. And that's where they do it, in the window. Just like Macy's, the Macy's window was the thing that attracted people to come downtown, because they wanted to see the Macy's window. You know what I mean? Because you want to see it. Well, for me to support it, it's got to be something that's the same for everybody. A 4x5 spot on the windows and doors, or whatnot. But a percentage is going to create chaos. We're going to have commander shells with 25 years of experience measuring windows, and with a calculator, measuring percentages.
You still want measuring tape. You still want to say something?
Well, I want to say other thing too. And a lot of these times, these businesses cover this stuff so people won't automatically look inside to steal their stuff. So sometimes it's as a protective mechanism as well. So you just ain't looking all in the window and seeing what you can get, and still coming back stealing later. So that was my final thought.
So
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna say so you can have the final say, because I
don't want to find. I just want to ask a brief. Is this in the entire downtown, sorry, the entire city of Florence, or?
It would be all the commercial zoning districts, yes.
Okay, but does downtown already have a requirement similar to this already?
Downtown does not have a specific requirement other than what's in the code, but we often send those to the design review board for review when they come about.
And see, I want us to understand that they don't, because this was not a problem. It's a growing problem, and it is a growing problem across the country, where the cities are now having to deal with the problem. So when you say regulations or you say guidelines, most of us live in communities with HOAs. I don't want to even live now in a community that don't have them, because it does not protect my property. I want some guidelines in place so that my property does not lose its value. So if you have someone that's next to me as a business and they flood this window with all kind of chaotic stuff, aesthetically it's unpleasing, but it also gives a sense of I don't want to say a lower standard, but it does. When you look at classy things, we are responsible as city council people to say how we want our city to grow. And when we don't put stipulations in place, it's a free-for-all. And so that's my opinion. That's why we're all here, to give our opinion. But did somebody else want to say? I'll let somebody else end it. Okay. All right, then. Thank you so much, Jerry. So let me get one thing clear. Are we asking him to go back to get a percentage for the sign, or this is a vote up or vote down?
This is a motion in a second. Let's vote. Motion in a second.
Well, there was somebody, he said, remember, the percentage, and so I'm trying to ask.
So, to respond to Councilman Braddock's call for perhaps as an alternative to have a maximum allowable signage, is that something that at least we could ask? I mean, it's not like we have to implement it today. Is that something that we could have Jerry go back and take a look at and give us a proposal that maybe would work a little better, Council? And I'm speaking to Councilman Braddock and asking.
I mean, I'm fine with deferring it and sending it maybe to the business committee to review something, but at this point, you know, I mean, I'm just one of seven. That would be my suggestion, to defer it and look at an approach based off of a standard instead of a percentage.
Could we?
So what are we asking when they already came up for 25%?
Excuse me 1 second. Could we send it to the business committee to have further questioning? You know, take a stronger look at it. Is that allowable to do that?
City manager.
Oh, it's certainly allowable. Certainly, you also could look at the planning commission and have them look at it as well.
Okay.
Look at it again, yes.
And what are we looking at?
Changing it to a specific allowable space,
Based
dimensions versus a percentage of your space. Based on saying that you can have on your windows, you could have a 4x5 area that you could advertise on versus 25% of whatever your current window space was. At least everything would be consistent across the board with all business owners, and not just a percentage of the glass that they just happen to have in front of the building. And waiving the permit fee and including it in the initial signage package, and if they do it later, then they would have to pay a fee because they chose to do it later, but they could do it initially.
That's correct.
Without any additional fee.
So council, we either vote this up or down, or we make a motion for it to go.
To defer.
To defer?
What about a motion to amend?
I think a motion to defer would then allow it to go to planning commission or whatever.
Okay.
And so if, Ron, how are we doing this? we have this, ordinance here that's listed. I read it. We had a second on it. So now,
Would I be, since I made the motion, could I withdraw it and move to defer instead?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll just move, I'll withdraw the motion, my motion to accept it as is, and then I'll move to defer, which would allow, the staff to then take it back to the planning commission or to the business development committee as staff deems, whichever is better.
and council would, he just made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Was that a time-specific motion in terms of deferring until, or just?
No, just whenever it's appropriate.
I have a quick question on that. Didn't we defer this last month?
Yes.
I just assumed go ahead and vote.
Well,
So we can vote stuff up or down.
well, no, we have a motion to
And
defer.
so we have the motion, your motion, or the motion,
It's the motion to defer, isn't it?
the motion to defer, we can vote yes or no to vote it up or down, and then we could move on to the other one if it doesn't pass. Okay? So, what say ye? There's a second
To the
to
motion to
deferring. All those in favor, we're gonna have to raise hands on this one. All those in favor in deferring and coming back. All right, all those who are opposed, raise your hand. All right, the deferment has passed, and so we will move forward with the deferment. Whew, okay. All right, now, I'm kind of confused where we are.
On B?
We are on, is it B?
2611.
Yes, 2611, bill number 2611, first reading, an ordinance to annex and zone RG-3, the property located at 115 East Red Bud Lane, identified as Florence County Tax Map number 00152-01-112. What say ye?
Second.
All right, Jerry.
I've got an easy one this time.
Oh,
I promise.
Thank you.
This property is located at, on East Redbud Lane. It's currently owned by the city. It's the site of one of our water production plants, and here's a little closer view of it. And because of recent annexations, it's become adjacent to city limits, so we're just proposing to annex it and zone it residential, just like the adjacent property. And that concludes staff's report.
All right. What say ye? Okay. Any questions? What say ye?
So moved.
Y'all got to vote. Oh, no, not so. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. Next, we have bill number 2026-12. It's the first reading, an ordinance to annex and zone RG2, the property located at 875 Scranton Drive, identified as Florence County Tax Map number 00751-01-113. What say ye?
So moved.
Okay, this is a ditto of the last one.
Okay.
This is just in a different part of town. Recent annexations have provided continuity for this property on Stratton Drive, which is the location of a water plant, and the proposed zoning does match the adjacent residential property, and Planning Commission did recommend to approve this. That concludes staff's report.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it. Next, we have bill number 2026-13. It's the first reading, an ordinance to establish the Opioid Response Commission for the review and recommendation of the opioid settlement fund distribution. What say ye?
Madam Mayor, I would like to add or amend to add some language to this opioid review commission.
Okay.
On section 2, number 3, where it says prioritize, can you pull that up real quick, baby?
Well, you know what? Can we get a second, let him review, and then you discuss?
Okay.
So can we get a motion and a second?
Motion.
Motions, who second? Okay, Glenn discuss, and then, Councilman Neesmith, you can do it then. Okay, Glenn?
So this ordinance will create a 5-member advisory commission. That advisory commission would be recommended for appointment through the Finance Committee with full approval by council. The recommended members will bring expertise in areas such as public health, substance abuse treatment, law enforcement, EMS, behavioral health, and community advocacy. The purpose of the commission will be to review the funding applications, ensure the eligibility is in alignment with the community action plan that we had presented back in December. And they'll recommend annual funding allocations to the Finance Committee to be brought forward to council for approval. This here is going to promote transparency and accountability in the use of these opioid settlement funds. It's going to ensure funding decisions align with the strategic priorities that are defined in the community action plan, and they're going to maintain council's authority over final funding approvals.
Okay. Discussion at this point.
Okay. So can you pull up that,
Do we have that in here? I don't think we have that on the slide or anything. Let's see. Let's see. It's the agenda on here. I don't think I have access to this.
Section 2, number 3, where it says prioritize funding requests based on demonstrated community need, evidence-based practices, and anticipated impact. I would like to also add vacancy/availability, and let that be one of the purpose and duties as well.
Right
Section
here.
2, number 3.
If you don't mind, Councilwoman, because we don't have that, can you tell us what you're doing and why you're saying
Yeah, I
that?
want to add vacancy and availability because we don't want to be funding organizations that don't have availability for the opioids. So the purpose of it is to add vacancy and let that be a criteria as well, that the organization does have vacancy for the patient that's going into opioids.
What if they're
center.
getting an
Oh, you're talking
expansion
about
with the money?
space for them to
Yes,
go in?
yes.
What if they're getting funding to increase space?
That'll be on there.
So I got a question for clarity.
Okay.
Question for clarity on the,
She's making
that
a
a
motion
motion
to
to
amend.
And
Yes,
add.
Is there a
and
second
add that. Well, first of all, yeah, we've got to have a second to the motion to amend.
Madam Mayor, if I
Yes.
can just clarify, Councilwoman Neesmith Jackson, if you would, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're speaking of Exhibit 2, Section B, correct? That's under
Hold on,
Exhibit B.
Is that what it is? Is that where it says an anticipated impact?
Can I make a, can I
I just want clarity on it.
is it possible for, because we don't have this in front of us, all of us, could it be possible that we get a copy of it and we take it into executive session? So, because we don't want to make a decision and we don't have it before us. Would that be okay, Councilman Neesmith?
Yes. And
We can get a copy and then we would, look at it in executive session and come back and vote on it at that point. So Councilman Neesmith, can we make a motion to, go into executive session
Yeah.
instead of vote? So, but you'll have to, I think, take back your motion, or can she leave it on the table and we go into executive session about that, Ron?
I think it needs to be addressed if it's on the table now, so I think the point would be to withdraw her motion now and to bring this matter up
In
for
consideration
after an executive session discussion.
Okay, so she would take it away and then we don't vote on it and we go into executive session on it and come back and vote on it.
Correct, so we should essentially just be deferring consideration or final action on, bill number 2026-13 until after executive session.
Yes. Okay.
Are you good with that, Councilwoman?
Yes.
Can you make that a motion?
And let me undo my motion.
Okay. All right.
Rescind my motion.
So,
Make a motion to move to executive session for
Second.
legal advice.
thank you. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We will move that item to executive session. Next, we have Bill number 2026-14. It's the first reading. It's an ordinance to amend the declining rate schedule for business license effective January 1, 2027.
So moved.
Second.
All those, Glenn, you have to say something on that? You, okay, that's why you're standing there, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, we'll hear from you.
We discussed this in January when we had our budget meeting. This is the business license declining rate update. This proposed ordinance would be effective January 1st, 2027. The purpose is to update the city's declining rate schedule. By doing that, we're going to improve fairness across business income tiers, and it's going to more closely align our declining rate schedule with other peer cities here within South Carolina. We've added a caveat to the municipal association's recommendations for declining rate schedules. We've kept it more to where it's protective, more small business minded, and maintains that competitive business environment. This is our current declining rate schedule. If you see there on the left, we have large brackets with steep discounts. Our brackets, the first one starts out 0 to 1 million. Then they go $3 million increments up to the 10 million point. And then it's a $10 million increment, and anything over 20 million has that 10% discount on business license. The discounts, they begin early and they accelerate quickly. Florence has one of the most aggressive license rate declining rates in the state. They're more comparable to Myrtle Beach and North Charleston. However, Florence is not a big tourism economy like Myrtle Beach, and we're not a big industrial economy like North Charleston. North Charleston has Boeing inside their city limits, so that's why they can have these $250 million plus declining rates. The ordinance is going to create a more balanced and gradual rate structure. The current discounts, they exceed those of our peer cities. As a result, the city generates materially less revenue per dollar of gross receipts from business licenses compared to comparable municipalities in the state. The rate schedule is just out of alignment with our economy here. We do want to keep it small business minded, declining rate schedule. The current structure shifts the burden to small and mid-sized local businesses. If you look back at here, you'll see by number of customers, I think there's almost 2,700 business license customers here in city limits. Over 2,000 of those never see any of these discounted tiers. So effective tax rate wise, they're paying more per dollar for business license tax than somebody that's making $20 million or more in revenues a year.
So, should go back to that next one. Should that say the one before that?
This one here?
Right there. Shouldn't that say current structure shifts burden from small and mid-sized local businesses?
No, our current structure does have the burden on small
Oh,
business.
the current.
Our current one does, yes. The proposed will shift that. Yes, sir. Something's going on with the PowerPoint. There we go. This here is a comparative of declining rates. If you can see here at $10 million, Florence, we have a 25% discount of our declining rate schedule. You'll see comparable cities, Charleston, Greenville, they're at 50% at the lowest. Comparison at 20 million, we drop down to 10% of a discount. Again, Charleston, Greenville, Columbia, we're still on the low. If you look at the bottom there, North Charleston, they go from 60 to 5%. These are at like $250 million in gross revenues. So we're out of alignment with other cities here in the state. The Municipal Association had a model declining rate schedule in their ordinance. As you can see, the brackets are $1 million, and they just go from 100, 90, 80, all the way down to 60%. These smaller brackets, they shrink the brackets to 1 million increments, and they cap the maximum discount at 60%. As we've discussed, we wanted to keep it more small business friendly. The proposed declining rate schedule that's in this ordinance, we keep the 0 to $1 million bracket as is. We go up in $2 million increments up to $7 million, and then we cap that discount at 60% at over $7 million. This still kind of makes the business-friendly incentive structure to bring business into the city, but it doesn't reward those outliers, the big box industries and stuff that are paying the same thing in other municipalities across the state. So it's kind of a balanced situation. So again, the proposed ordinance will keep Florence competitive, still offers the higher discounts than what's in the municipal association's model ordinance. So that continues the incentives for growth, and the city can be small business friendly while maintaining a competitive rate structure. It eliminates those excessive discounts at the higher tiers. And again, it's all about alignment with some of our peer cities. If we want to do the things that our peer cities are doing, we have to have the funding to do those things.
Thank you so much.
Oh, yes, this was already presented to the Finance Committee and recommended for approval.
That's what I was about to ask.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Council, any discussion?
I do have a discussion.
Yes.
Glenn, I just want to thank you, and this is kind of speaking on behalf of probably the small business owners throughout the city of Florence, for making it fair across the board for businesses throughout the entire city, especially with the way you've set the rate scale with business licenses. So thank you for being innovative and finding a way to make it fair across the board in your department.
This has been a team effort with the business licensing staff. It's something that's been discussed for multiple years, and this year we decided to pull the trigger on it because it's necessary.
Thank you.
Great job.
Thank you.
Great job. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. Next, we have Bill number 2026-15, an ordinance to amend the budget for the city of Florence, South Carolina for fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026. What say ye?
So moved.
Second.
Glenn?
Yes, ma'am. This ordinance will amend the 25-26 budget to appropriate $300,000 from fund balance for the installation of above-ground fuel tanks at our Marion Street location. We have tanks there now. This is essentially rehabbing and adding diesel to the location. The purpose of the amendment is to essentially increase operational efficiency as well as resiliency. Currently, the only diesel tank the city has is out of Public Works out of McCurdy Road. If there's vehicles or equipment working downtown, they have to take the time to go out to McCurdy Road to refill. This will put a diesel tank in city limits. It also provides redundancy for the city. In the event of a storm or anything like that, if something happens that blocks roadways out there or access to those tanks, the city has another tank available for it.
Thank you so much. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you. Next, we have Bill number 2026-16, first reading, an ordinance to amend the budget for the city of Florence for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30th, 2026. Council, this has been requested that we move it into executive session. So can we have a motion to move it in?
Motion to move to executive session.
Second? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This matter has been moved to executive session. Our next item also will be moved to executive session is Bill number 2026-17, first reading, an ordinance to authorizing the execution of an amended and to extend the lease agreement between the city of Florence to PD Healthy Start. This item will be moved into executive session as well. Now we go to resolutions. Resolution number 2026-22. There's a resolution authorizing the approving the acceptance of loan assistance monies from the State Revolving Fund Drinking Water Project to fund the PFAS study and other matters related thereto. What say ye?
Second.
Motion.
So move.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Michael was ready to give us some information on it, but we are.
Councilor's good. I'm good.
So we good?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
good?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we good. All right. Next, we have resolution number 2026-23, a resolution authorizing and approving the acceptance of the loan assistance money from the state revolving fund clean water project to fund Jeffries Creek Sewer Phase 1 project and other matters related thereto.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify. There's a question?
Yeah.
So Michael, go ahead and give it to us.
Yes, sir. Madam Mayor and Council. Yeah, of course.
No, if you would, just for the benefit of our citizens at home, if you would just tell us, I think there's, phase 1 deals with the sewer line running through Jeffries Creek, is
Yes,
that
sir.
correct?
The phase 1 part of Jeffers Creek will be from South Castro Drive along Fairway, starting with some 8 inches sewer main, all the way to the wastewater facility, ending up with 54 inches in size, starting at the wastewater. So we'll start on the lower end at the wastewater facility, and then work our way back up into town. When you do a gravity sewer project, you work on the lowest part, and then work your way back up on that part. So it's approximately 11,000 linear feet of new pipe in the ground.
And as I understand it, the amount is 24.7 million?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
And the project itself is about a $25 million project?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And so thank you very much to the state of South Carolina for giving us 24.7 million of the 25 million.
Yes,
And-
sir.
Pardon?
Councilman Braddock.
When we put this out to bid, just for clarity's sake, with our contractors, don't we have like a local, and Scotty may answer this, don't we have like a local contractor, like, incentive or something that
Yes,
gives
sir.
our local folks a competitive edge?
Yes, sir.
And when I say local, I mean like
City
Florence,
of Florence
local,
and Florence
you know,
County.
but then state also, you know, if we're gonna be, I'd rather get state money to state people, you know, but do we have that in place? And what does that look like when people, to incentivize local contractors to bid on these projects?
Yes, as Mr. Hemingway said, we do recognize the city of Florence and Florence County. There is, we allow them to match the bid. If they're within 3 or 5% of the bid, they can match that bid, the low bid, and get that project.
Councilman McCray.
And so is that only
Okay.
the, within Florence City, county, or as Councilman Braddock said, does that include the state as well?
That's the city and the county.
And is there any way we can look into expanding that? Obviously giving more preference to city and county, but then kind of having that a broader scale for the state folks as well? Because it's my understanding that the folks that won this project, they're out of state, correct?
No, sir. This project hasn't bid yet. We're getting the final permit approval from the South Carolina Department of Environmental Services, and we hope to be able to bid it in like July.
And I thank you for bringing this, and thank you for allowing this, because I get emails and texts, and they are telling me to fix the you-know-what problem, and they don't understand that we really are on it.
Yes, ma'am.
It takes a while, so the process, can you just go over the process? Because the minute they send it, I'm sending, and all of us send the problems to you all, but the problem doesn't go away the next day, and they'll send fix the D problem, and we are working on it. So can you please give us?
Yes, ma'am. This particular project, we started doing research back in 2021 with our engineering team. So they went out and did field assessments, got the field assessments completed. Then we approached the state for the permitting process approval. And then once we got their initial permit approval, then they started the design phase, and it's been 2.5 years on the design phase where the engineers sent out surveyors and other field investigators where you look at the existing infrastructure, find the depth, how many houses connected to exactly where those facilities are located. Then you go back and look at, okay, where the existing line is, where do we put the new infrastructure? Where do we find the space or the property or the easement to put the new infrastructure in place to minimize the impact on existing customers during that construction phase. So to get all that squared away. Then as council approved last year, we did the resolution on with CXX because we have to cross up on their railroad. So we applied to them once we got the project far enough along, and then you submit it to CXX for their approval, as they are required to give a permit to cross up on their right-of-way. Then the same occurred with Department of Transportation, sending it to them for them to approve because certain parts of the project are within the road right-of-way. They have to approve the project as well to be able to instruct that new. And then once you get both of those approvals in place, then you can go back to DES and say we've gotten CSX approval and DOT approval, and then they can sign off and say, well, based on where you have this new infrastructure going, you now have all the appropriate other permits to do this particular work in a manner that's efficient and available by DES.
Yeah, so just so that I think we understand that it's a process, but we want the general public to understand that it is a process and it takes a minute for us to put the moving parts in place.
Yes, ma'am.
But we are diligently working on fixing these infrastructure, water, and sewage problems.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Did we vote on it? No. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you so much. This next resolution also will be moved to executive session. It is resolution number 2026-24, a resolution authorizing the execution of any intergovernment agreement between the City of Florence, South Carolina, and School District 1 of Florence, South Carolina for the governance of an aquatic center. This matter will be moved to executive session. Next, we have reports to council. Appointments of boards and commissions will be moved to executive session. Now we will have a utility update.
Again, Madam Mayor and Council asked staff to develop a monthly council report for the utilities. AECOM was not available to be here today to kind of lead this discussion, so I'll give a brief high-level breakdown of the information to council. Right now, between city staff, AECOM, and CDM Smith, our consultant engineers, on the water side, we have a total of 16 projects divided into 3 phases that's currently ongoing. We got 7 projects in planning phase. We got 4 projects in the design phase, and we got 5 projects under construction. Then we go to sewer. We presently have 3 projects in the planning phase. We got 2 projects in the design phase, and we got 1 project under construction. Then you jump over to stormwater. We have 2 projects in the planning phase, 2 projects in design phase, and 2 projects under construction. Then we jump to our other consultant engineer, CDM Smith. They are presently working with our contractor, Wharton Smith, on the expansion of the surface water facility. That project has already started with plan submittals and other work there. The other project is doing the infrastructure for Florence Global Technology Park. That's the new industrial park between Williamson Road and Highway 327. And that work is presently ongoing. And the Jeffries Creek Sanitary Sewer Intercept that we spoke of earlier with the resolution. And so so you're looking at a total of 31 different projects that are going on between the city staff and our consultant engineers right now.
Councilman Brad.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Is this information anywhere that the public could access? Could you, is there a sheet of these projects and where they are that we could?
Yes, sir. We can put it together and break it down to where location, like a mean on a city map, saying here are these.
Right. Just something that
just a list
that gives a visible, to that information that you just gave us.
Okay.
That the general public could go on the website or whatnot, active water projects, and just click the link.
Yes, sir. A good bit of these projects are already there.
Okay.
And so, just like if you go to our water portal page, a lot of these projects are already listed on the city's water portal page. And we are also in the process with Amanda and her team of developing a sewer portal as well. Okay. And so it'll list the various sewer projects that's currently ongoing. And a couple more weeks, we should have that completed.
The more transparency, the better.
Yes, sir.
Councilman McKay.
Michael, I do have a quick question.
Yes, sir.
And I know you referred to it real quick on the Cashwell project. And you know, I know we have a resident whose home has had some sewage issues that backed up on the city's back, or the city was at fault and backed up into their house and they've been moved out. Is that something that's going to be addressed with that Cashwell project? I know it's on Cashwell, and I know either the city or our insurance is currently paying for them to rent a townhome or multiple townhomes for their family. Is that something that's going to be addressed with this? Because that's a recurring expense that, yes, it might not be too high,
That
but it's also
project,
family expense.
based on where that occurred, further up on Castro, staff has already corrected that with the manhole that collapsed in that particular. So that collapsed manhole where the bricks fell in, that's already been repaired.
So why is it that they have not been able to? And I actually was informed this morning that they have not received a check for their rent this month, and so now they're facing late fees due to the city's late payments on these fees.
Madam Mayor?
Yes,
I
please.
would just suggest that if there are specific matters regarding the city and the individual property owner, those matters will be most appropriately discussed in executive session and not in open session.
Thank you. Thank you. You okay with us moving it to executive session? Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, thank you so much. Next, we will have city manager's report.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. As we discussed earlier, we have a number of winners in the city of Florence, one of which is a city staff member. Our very own Adam Swindler actually participated with Dancing with the Stars this year.
Yes.
As you guys know, Dancing with the Stars is produced by the School Foundation about 14 years. It's to provide funds for the school district 1 here. Mr. Swindler actually won Most Entertaining and the People's Choice Award there. I think he was cheated also with the technical because he actually did a very, very good job. We're very proud of Adam and all that he's done and love to embarrass him. So let's give it up for
Do
him.
we have any footage on that?
We actually do have some footage, and we talked about the gymnastics. Adam actually did a headstand. I don't think he want to do it right now, but he actually did a headstand and
I think
did a great job.
he cut his hair especially for that.
Yes, he did. Other matters like to talk about, on Saturday we had an unveiling of a new community mural at the Florence Center Farmers Market that was funded in part by the South Carolina Arts Commission. Certainly like to thank Amanda and her staff for that. All went well. The City of Florence, in partnership with Duke Energy, Keep Florence Beautiful, Naturally Outdoors, and the South Carolina Forestry Commission for an Earth Day Native, are partnering for an Earth Day Native Tree Giveaway. It will be held on April 29th from 4 to 7 p.m. at the back lawn of Naturally Outdoors, located at 2519 West Palmetto Street. We partnered with the same group last year. We gave away a number of trees, and we look forward to doing that again this year. Levy Park, as you know, we've secured about $18 million total for Levy Park. We met with our architect in March. He's about 90% complete with the construction drawings there. We expect to bid this project out in early fall and complete it at the end of September of 2027. And you've met our new police chief. I think we want to formally announce her at this council meeting. This is her first council meeting. Chief Green, somewhere. I can't see. And that completes staff's report.
Thank you so much. Now we will have our mayoral report. I want to say we are super excited about the Levy Park expansion and work, but I wanted to thank our very own George Bailey and Chipper Smith for your work in leading this project. We appreciate all your hard work, and staff, all that you have done. Two other things. I was fortunate to be chosen to attend the Raleigh's Fellowship for Mayors in Charleston a few weeks ago, and I want to give kudos to this council. And first, council, you know, you don't know how people look at us, and they say, there were so many people that came up to me and said, you know, y'all get along so well. Y'all make it look so good. And so we become the standard. And then I go on, and as the meeting is going on, our downtown area, they kept bringing it up for the standard for other people to look at. All of the things that we're doing in recreation and all of these things, Florence really looks good, and I was so proud sitting there when every time somebody else's, because everybody's project is talked about, and they are using Florence as a standard for so much. So I wanted to say that was a proud moment for me in this council, staff, and all those who make Florence shine. Thank y'all so much for the great job that you're doing. Now, lastly, I want to talk about Jeffries Creek. Scotty and I went on a ride down Jeffries Creek, right in the middle of the city of Florence. I am just so surprised at how beautiful the creek is, and it is just a hidden gem that we really need to just buff and shine up, because I think it would be a destination spot. And I do want to say that Buddy and Scotty cheated. We were canoeing, I was ahead, and we got at a little thing. Buddy got out, grabbed my canoe, and pushed us back. And then they went on, and so it's on Facebook that they were waiting for us, but of course they cheated. But I am excited that something beautiful will come out of the fact that we had some leakage in there, and these Buddy and Naturally Outdoors wanted us to see, hey, we've got a hidden gem here, and y'all need to see it. So I want to thank Naturally Outdoors for actually setting that up for us, and I look for some more to come. That's my report. Now we will have, yes.
If I could.
No, not if you're going to have a comeback.
No, I
yeah,
wouldn't.
go ahead.
I just also wanted to recognize Glenn Bodenheimer. Glenn has been promoted to our finance director position, so certainly want to recognize Glenn and thank him for all his wonderful work.
Way to go, way to go. Next, we have our Business Development Committee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The Business Development Committee meeting that was scheduled for March was canceled due to a scheduling conflict, and so we did not have that meeting. But I did want to add, and we do have a meeting coming up for April, and so we're excited about that. I do want to add that the issue of addressing the groundwater, that there have been, as I was looking over the notes that were given, the iron data recording is being done, so I think there's efforts being made on the groundwater system to try and monitor the amount of iron coming in from the groundwater, and so that ongoing process of improving the discoloration issue and trying to reduce that is going on, and I want to thank our city staff for pushing that forward on a continual basis to help reduce the discoloration issue, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Community Development. We did not meet, so I will see you on something next month. Next, we have the Finance, Audit, and Budget Committee.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We met on March 25th of last month, and what we discussed was the business license decline and rate schedule. It was recommended by the Finance Committee to be approved, which it was today. And again, it gives it leveled the playing fields for those small businesses against those larger industries. In addition, we also went over the 2 line items that are to be one that was approved, but the other one is to be discussed in executive session. And then lastly, we were presented with the opioid response commission ordinance. There were a few changes that were recommended, that's addressed here, and it was recommended by the finance committee for approval. And that will conclude our report.
Well, thank you, council. Now we move to executive session. A matter discussion to receive legal advice regarding the proposed contractual arrangements for the lease property as referenced in bill number 2026-17. Discussion of receipt of legal advice regarding proposed contractual arrangements between the City of Florence and Florence District 1. For discussion regarding appointments to city boards and commission. Discussion of receipt of legal advice regarding proposed contractual arrangement for an acquisition of property. Personal matter regarding reappointment of judge. And then there was a 2026-13, an ordinance to establish the opioid response. What say ye, council?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We are now in executive session. 5-minute break. 6 minutes. 6 minutes.